Hi, everyone. Hope you can hear me. Um, Good afternoon. I am Lisa Gold. I am the Executive Director of A4 and want to welcome you to the What Can We Do information session today. So we're going to talk a little bit about the, the opportunity. We'll talk about the application. We'll talk about how we're going to make selections, a timeline. And then at the end, I'll answer your questions. Um, so Rihanna is on the call too, and she will be here to help. So feel free to, you can drop any questions you want in the chat, or you can wait and raise your hand at the end and put them in the Q&A. So either one. All right, well, let's get started. Rihanna, oh, thank you. All right. So, like I said, today we're going to go over the opportunity. We'll talk about eligibility. We'll go through the application. If you have any questions, how the selections will be made, the timeline, and Q&A. Okay. So for those of you who aren't familiar with A4, we are a 501c3 nonprofit service organization dedicated to ensuring greater representation, equity, and opportunity for AAPI artists and arts organizations. Hold on for just a moment. I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry, just a few technical difficulties here. Okay. Um, okay, next. All right, so just a little bit of context about this grant. So this grant was started in 2022. Actually, it started in 2021 during the COVID pandemic. So a lot of our community was um, out of work, concerned about their elders, their community themselves, and didn't really know where to turn or how to be supportive. And so we felt it was important to let artists know that they do have agency, that the work does make a difference, and to feel empowered. And so we created this program to be able to support artists with cash grants to be able to give back, to use their creative gifts to make a difference in the community, to not only make themselves feel better, but to help the community heal as well. Sadly, the pandemics of COVID and anti-Asian hate, including Islamophobia, continue to be felt today. And while there have been many, many mutual aid groups and direct service organizations and community leaders who've stepped in, there's still a need to heal and to show care. In addition, with the ongoing genocide in Gaza, many Palestinian artists and communities are feeling safe and unsupportive. And so we, as a collective community, have come together to demand a ceasefire, raise awareness around the conflict in Gaza, and support the Palestinian American community, specifically artists and culture workers, with this opportunity. So what can we do is a grant opportunity for artists looking to support the AAPI community in New York City with engaging creative projects rooted in care. So at the base, these are projects led by you, artists who desire to affect change in your community. And it can be a project, however small, as long as it shows care to the community. So as I noted, this project started in 2022, and we gave out small grants because we also didn't have a lot of money at the time. But we gave out 30 grants in the beginning. And since that project launched, we have supported more than 80 artists. We've distributed over $55,000 in funding, supporting 18 different communities and neighborhoods. We and the artists that we work with have worked with more than 40 community organizations, and the projects have touched over 1 million New Yorkers. So just an example, there have been a number of different programs, all taking as many creative forms as you would imagine from artists of different disciplines. I'm just going to go through a couple of examples here. One took place in Chinatown. Art Against Displacement won a grant to create a workshop and create this dragon that they introduced in the annual Lunar New Year parade. In Chinatown, we had artists do ceramic workshops. We had sewing workshops where people embroidered their names and came together to tell their stories about identity. In Flushing, we had projects that included creative workshops for teens and youth, painting, murals, and other projects. We had a Chinese yo-yo demonstration and teaching workshop. We've had creative dance classes for older adults, music, and all sorts of other performances. And a number of other projects just kind of all over the city, included posters for mental health awareness, for pop-up shows that supported crafts and family learning. So if you want to check out some of the different projects that took place in the past, just go to our website under programs and look under what can we do, and you can get a whole list of all of the programs that took place. So this program, it's made possible with city funds from the New York Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. So specifically, Council members Christopher Marti in District 1, Manhattan, Chinatown, and Council member Sandra Ung in District 20 in Flushing. So a lot of the projects we're asking to be focused either in those communities, serving those communities, or if you're a constituent of those communities, that's great. And this year, we've also received funding from the Ford Foundation, the Center for Social Justice, to support Palestinian creators in their communities as well. So we're expanding the program this year. So the program consists of a $1,500 unrestricted cash award. We will pay you in 2 installments, half upon signing the agreement and half upon completion of a report. And we will provide you with help making connections to community organizations if you want. We'll also help publicize the event, and we're here for consultation and other kind of support as your project develops. The things that we require from you is that your project, an act of community care, that it takes place between February 4th and June 3rd of next year. You can have already, this can be an existing project, it could have already started, but the project, the aspect that we are funding will need to take place between this time period. It can be one engagement, it can be multiple engagements. We are requesting a final report of your project, how it went, by June 5th. It's a very, very simple report. And then we request that you share your project, you talk about it with the cohort of all the grantees in mid-June. So we'll confirm that date as we get closer to the end of the program. Okay, the application. So the application is live right now, and the deadline is Tuesday, January 7th, 1 minute before midnight. So please don't wait to the last minute in case there is a glitch or any kind of technical difficulties with JotForm, but it should be very, very easy to fill out. So the applications will be reviewed by members of the A4 team, and we will make our selections based on the following criteria, which is community impact, your outreach strategy, the actual project, the creativity of your project, and your ability to commit or the viability of the project. So we'll go through that in a little bit more detail. Okay, so in terms of eligibility, we require that the recipient, or you, the artist grantee, must be a resident of New York City during the program period, because this is intended to benefit New Yorkers. So we want you to be here in the city working with your community. We request that you are 21 years of age or older. So if your birthday was before, or sorry, if you're born after January 7th, or sorry, you're not eligible for this. But as long as you are 21 and older the day that the application is due, then you will qualify. We require that you be a practicing artist. So this is very, very broad. So all disciplines, and whether you identify as an artist activist or an artist community organizer, an artist educator, all of those are considered artists, and you are welcome to apply. We are asking that you demonstrate an interest and willingness in community work and care for vulnerable populations. So this isn't really a grant for you to just continue doing a project. Let's say you have an exhibition planned. So this isn't the right grant for you. This is really engaging in care for the community in some way using your artistic voice. And then we ask that, as I had mentioned, this can be an existing project or it can be a new project, as long as it centers on community building, healing, reflection, and joy, and it's not solely reactionary, such as like launching a protest or something like that. Okay, and then we ask that the project benefit District 1, which is Chinatown, Manhattan. It can benefit residents or people in District 20, which is Flushing, Queens, and can be all of the above, or be a social justice project focused on the support of Palestinian creators and their communities in any district in New York City. Okay. And then finally, we require that your project takes place within the program period, as I noted earlier, February 4th through June 30th of, June 3rd of next year. So sometimes people have questions about this. So hopefully this clarifies things. So do you live in New York and you're over 21 years old as of January 7th? Yes, then you can move forward. If those don't apply to you, sorry, you don't qualify. If you do, you're 21 and older as of January 7th, and you live in New York, if your project takes place in Chinatown or Flushing, yes, great. If your project is rooted in care, yes, great, you qualify. So I hope this flow chart makes sense. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us, but you don't have to abide by all of them. So if you live in Chinatown, your project can take place anywhere. If you live in the Bronx, as long as your project takes place in Chinatown or Flushing or centers around the Palestinian community in New York City, then you are eligible. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A, and we'll get to that. Okay, so just really quickly, I just want to also let you know, anyone who received a grant or applied for a grant in previous rounds, you are eligible to apply. Even if you received the grant in the past, you're eligible to apply. We will be weighting the grants. We will be weighting the applications a little bit heavier for those who have not received funding in the past. But if you have an outstanding project and you want to apply again, feel free to do so. And we will be sending the slides out to everyone who registered for this workshop. And we will also have this recording on our YouTube page, and you can find it also on our website. It will link from the What Can We Do page. So just wanted to share that. Okay, we're going to talk about the application now. So we ask for a few things, the application. So we ask for some personal and demographic information. We want to make sure you are eligible either by living in the district or serving a district that we're requesting. We want to know what your project is. We want to know if you need a match with a community organization or if you already have one, or you don't even need one. You don't need a community organization for this project, just to make that clear. But if you want one, we can help with that. And we'd like you just to include your resume and headshot and your proof of residence and age, just to make sure that you you meet those eligibility requirements. So in terms of the personnel and demographic information, I think it's pretty straightforward. Your name, birth date, pronouns, your email address, a phone number where we can reach you, and the address of your residence. As we noted, you must be in one of the boroughs in New York City. Let's see. You can note here, we do ask if you've received a grant in the past, or if you've applied for a grant in the past. So we will, as I just mentioned earlier, we will wait. Oh, sorry, it isn't actually a random draw. Apologies for this. We will weight the applications in favor of those who have not received a grant in the past. But if you applied in the past but did not receive it, you will be weighted equally with everybody else who has not applied. And we just want to know how you heard about this, so we can make sure that we are reaching as many people as efficiently as possible. Okay, so let's see. Additional information. The only mandatory questions are those with a red asterisk. We asked for gender identity, sexual identity, because again, we want to make sure we're reaching a wide variety of people and artists, and we're not missing people, and to ensure that we have a diverse cohort in terms of the projects and the recipients. So we also ask if you identify with as a person with disability, so that we can make any modifications or to support you in any way that you may need. We ask for ethnicity, again, just for statistical purposes and to better understand your discipline. We know that a lot of you are multidisciplinary, so you should be able to check as many categories as apply. Okay, next. So this question, again, where do you want your project to take place? So please check that. And if it doesn't take place in Manhattan or Flushing, or you are not seeking to support the Palestinian creative community, just let us know. Like I said, if you live in one of those two districts and your project is elsewhere, that is still eligible. So we just need to know that. Okay, so that's hopefully that answers that district eligibility question. And then your project, 250 words, short description of a project. This is what we use in our press release. This is what we put on the website. So try to make it brief and understandable for somebody to read. And then if you have dates, specific dates or time frame, please enter that. Again, it can be pretty broad, but we'd just like to get a sense. We hope that all of these projects are not going to happen the very last week that the project is open. So we would love to see the projects taking place from February through June. And then in terms of your project, we want to know how you're going to reach your community partners, or sorry, the people that this project is intended to serve, whether they're community organizations or individuals, your collaborators. How do you plan to do that? And then how do you plan to engage this community long-term? We really do hope that this project will lead to an ongoing either a partnership or deepened engagement and support of the community. Okay, so community organizations. So as noted, we ask you to share a community or a community organization that you'd like to work with. And this can change, over the course of the application period, the grant period, but we just want you to communicate with us and let us know. We know circumstances change, so that's okay. We can be flexible. Again, we just ask for transparency and communication. If you have a community organization you'd like to partner with, that's great. If you don't have one, you can opt to work with one of the organizations that we have partnered with in the past. So just let us know if you want to be paired with one of them. If you don't want to be paired with them, you already have somebody in mind, or you don't need a community organization. Like I said, you don't have to. That's not a requirement. Okay. If you do have a community organization, we would like to know who they are. We welcome the introduction and outreach to other organizations. So just share as much information as you can. And if you have an existing relationship with them, obviously we'd love to know that. So it means a lot that you're deeply engaged with the community. And then if you want to be matched with someone, we have a list of 5 organizations that we have worked with in the past that artists have had really great experiences with. Everything from teaching workshops to leading, presenting performances, all sorts of different types of engagement. So these are 3 that you can choose from. The Chatham Square Library in Manhattan, University Settlement, which works with individuals in a number of different ways through housing and food and health programs. Flushing, Queens we have 3 community partners there: Glow Cultural Center, Queens Botanical Garden, and the YWCA. And again, each of them offers a wide variety of services, so we're happy to make introductions. We just want to let you know that even if you choose to work with them, these organizations, they may be busy, or they may receive too many applications, so they may not be able to work with you. But if you're specifically interested in working with them, we'll do what we can to make that introduction, but we just can't guarantee it. So just wanted to share that. Okay, resume headshot. Again, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So that's something that we'll use on the website and for promotional purposes. And then also would love your website, your Instagram, and any other handles, so that when we're doing social media promotion, if you're selected, that we can tag you and share on social. And then finally, just looking for proof of residence. So just any kind of documentation that shows that you are living where you say you're living in New York City. So we're pretty open on that. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. And just proof of age, passport, driver's license, ID card, anything, it's fine. And then just a reminder to submit it online, January 7th. Tuesday night, the deadline, 11:59 p.m. Please don't wait until Tuesday night. But I know it happens. Okay, so how are we going to make the decision? Because we get so many incredible applications, it's very challenging. So I'll tell you how we are going to make the decision, and that might impact how you craft your application. So we will be looking at these 4 criteria: community impact, your outreach strategy, the actual project, its uniqueness and creativity, how well it's thought out, and your ability to commit, and how likely it is that you can make this project happen within the time period. Note that we're also looking to ensure that the projects are spread out, that we're serving different communities. And so, we may have to do some balancing there. So we just look to ensure that it's a well-rounded selection, that we're helping as many New Yorkers in as many places as possible. Okay, so community impact. So does your project have an impact? Will it show support and care? Do you have an existing relationship or desire to build relationships? Do you have an understanding of the issues facing the community? So we want to make sure that, this is, again, like a well thought out. This is not just, I'm going to do an exhibition in this community, or I'm going to do a performance in Seward Park because there are seniors that hang out there in the park. So we want to make sure that you understand, what the community needs, and that, you plan to really care and show that this will positively impact the community in some way. Your outreach strategy. Do you have a plan? Do you have a clear plan on how you're going to reach these community members? If you plan to work with a community organization, does your strategy align with the scope and contents of your project? So, like if you are, again, for example, let's say I'm doing a performance in the park. Maybe you're gonna flyer the park, but is that enough to ensure that people show up? Maybe, maybe not. If you plan to work with a community organization, let's say you're doing a performance that's geared towards children and you want to work with a senior organization, right? That's probably not a good fit. So just making sure that everything is in alignment and makes sense. The project development. Your project development. So are you clearly articulating what your project is? Is it innovative? Is it creative? Is it imaginative? Like, is it something different? Like I said, we don't want to see another, I'm going to do an exhibition in a community gallery. We love exhibitions, and I don't mean to be dumping on, on artists at all. We just want to make sure that this is a kind of interactive engagement type of project, and that participating in this program will make a difference in the project. So that's key. And then your ability to commit and the viability of your project. So again, like if you're planning, a full-scale opera with, 50 community members and you plan to do it on February 10th, that's probably not super viable given the time frame. But if it's something more manageable, that you show thought and care in how you're going to achieve this, then that shows more viability. So that's kind of what we're looking for, something that makes sense. And then just a few preferences that we wanted to note. Like we said, this program was really built to show care and to support artists in ways just beyond, the financial support. So working with communities, building these relationships that not only strengthens your process, but it's good for your mental and physical health. So working in collaboration or developing these relationships is really going to help you in the long run. And so we're hoping that, your project will continue on. It's not required. You don't have to do anything beyond the scope of this, but that's something that we will look favorably upon when evaluating these applications. Again, we're going to slightly more heavily weight the applicants who have not previously received the award, but anyone can apply. And we are looking for projects to support New Yorkers. So, you can do a fundraiser as long as it's supporting a local New York community, but we don't want to be supporting projects abroad. The objective is showing care to the New York City AAPI community. Okay, so timeline. Applications are open now. They opened on the 12th. Today's the info session. Again, we will send out the slides and we'll post this recording so you can revisit it if there's something that you missed. The deadline is Tuesday, January 7th at 11:59 p.m. We will have 2 weeks to review all of the applications, and then we will notify all of these artists who have been selected. We'll notify you on the 21st. And then we give you a lengthy period of time, several months, to actually execute your project. So from February 4th to June 3rd. Again, if your project is an ongoing project and it's already started, that's fine, as long as you demonstrate that there's some portion of it that took place during this period. And then we ask for a final report. It's a very simple report. We ask for 2 photos and just a very brief description of the project, what happened. And then we get together. So we take those final reports, we put it into a slideshow, and we have a public share out. So everybody can learn about the projects that all of the awardees did. And it's a fantastic event to see all of the creative ways that artists show care for the community. So that's that. So I think we can stop sharing. And if you all have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A, or you can drop them in the chat. And if you don't have any questions, that's fine too. So I'll just give you a couple minutes. I don't see anything happening. I can't believe that it was that thorough.
We do have one question, which some of these we answered, but it doesn't hurt to answer them once more. One was, can I apply for the 2025 cohort if I received the microgrant in the past? And yes, you can apply. It'll just be weighted for those who are new to the application process. Then will the slides be made available after this seminar? Yes, we will be sending those out. So take a look for an email from me, Rahana Mirza. Don't mark it as spam. It's probably the slides. Lisa, there's a question. Can I apply as a collective or duo? I'll let you take that one.
Yes. Yes, you can. In fact, we have had duos in the past, but you will just receive one flat fee of $1,500. You don't get $1,500 per artist. So that is, yes, you can. And I see this question about, would the grant ever consider opening up to areas like District 25 and District 30? We would love to do that. So what we would love is your support in reaching out to the council members who award funding in those areas. We would love to do that, and we will look into. The thing is, if you live in one of these other districts, if you live in District 1 and District 20, you can do your projects there. But right now, yeah, we don't have specific funding to do projects there if you are not living in, or if you live in those districts, if you live outside of Districts 1 and 20. And then in terms of guidelines as applying as a collective, I'm not sure I understand. It's just, again, just illustrating what your project is, how you plan to work together, what you're just being very, very clear about, what the project is and how you plan to execute it. That's really it. If the project is currently a ticketed workshop, can they continue to be tickets even if chosen for the grant? I'll tell you, it's possible, although we really prefer that these programs be free to the public, or that you offer some kind of ability for people who cannot pay to still be able to attend. So again, I guess we probably should put that in the in terms of the preferences and weighting. We do prefer that the programs are free to all participants and attendees. And do we prefer projects that offer multiple events versus just one big event? We really prefer projects that show engagement and care with the community. So if there's like a one-time event that's going to make a huge difference on someone's life, or it's really memorable and impactful, that's great. Or if they're a series of smaller events that serve fewer people but are really really get in there and are in depth and make that connection, that's great too. So it's often it's a balance between reach and depth. So there's no specific, we don't necessarily have a preference. The main preference is just to show that that you care for the community and that you're using your creativity in that way. And then in terms of the collective, yes, every single participant in the collective has to live in New York City. If you are doing a project let's say you're doing a project in district, let's just say District 5, but you live in District 1, it's possible, I would recommend if you're going to work with the collective and your collective members don't live either in the district of the project or in one of the funding districts, I would say apply as an individual, and then you can bring them in for support. Do not apply as a collective because you're not going to be weighted as favorably. So it's really to ensure that the funds from these council districts are going to help their constituents. So the funds are going either to a resident to execute an act of care, you, the artist, are a resident, or the funds are going to constituents who reside in that district. So I hope that is clear and that makes sense. And if not, feel free to email us and I can clarify it for you. Sure thing. And we'll wait a couple more minutes. Anybody has any more questions? And if not, again, thank you. I do encourage you to check out the previous projects on the website. So Arts Alliance programs, what can we do? And you can see a list of the previous grantees. So feel free to check that out. And again, feel free to email us if you have any other questions. So thank you all for your time today. Again, feel free to check this out on our YouTube channel or reach out to us. And again, as Rehanna said, check your inbox and your spam filter to make sure you get the slides. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. I can't wait to read your applications.